It's time again for Baker & Brown.
We're excited to bring you our show this week from another new location. Stay with us. Hello everyone, welcome again to Baker & Brown. I'm Paige Brown, the Gallatin City Mayor, with Kim Baker, the CEO of the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce. We're delighted you're joining us again for Baker & Brown. We are in a really special location for a special reason this week. So Kim, talk about where we are right now.
Well, we are in one of Gallatin's beautiful parks, Triple Creek Park, and it is located just down from the historic downtown square, and we are at a very special memorial. I especially like this memorial, one, because of what it honors, but also who was responsible for the project, a Boy Scout. Scouting is close to my heart, and I think you know a little about the guy.
I do. This you've probably driven past this when you've driven into Triple Creek. I would encourage you to stop and take a look at it. I may be standing in front of it, but this is a memorial to fallen officers, and it was erected by a local student and Boy Scout as his Eagle Scout project, a young man by the name of Reese Nicholson. It's probably been up about 2 years now.
That's right.
And he thought that for his project that he felt called to honor fallen officers. And so he erected this right here in our Triple Creek Park here in Gallatin, and we're just so very proud of it. But to talk more about the reason that this monument is particularly meaningful this week, we have two of Sumner County law enforcement's finest. I'm proud to introduce to you today our Gallatin Police Chief Don Bandy and the Sumner County Sheriff Officer Chief Deputy Aaron Pickard. You guys come on in and talk to us if you would. Tell us.
Morning.
This is Chief Bandy and Mr. and what Chief? Would I call you Chief too?
Whatever you want, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
You're in charge.
No. So this is a very special week for those of you in law enforcement.
Absolutely. This is a Police Officer Memorial Week, and back in 1961, I do believe, President Kennedy acted on Congress's recommendation to honor fallen police officers, and of course, more importantly, their survivors, the ones that had to stay around. So May 15th is actually that day. So again, we're at least we can do is remember the families and the fallen folks there and their survivors. That's a very important thing.
Now Gallatin, we've lost one in the line of duty, and sadly, but Sumner County's lost several as well. Talk about Mr. Downing.
Sergeant Steve Downing. He was actually off duty. He had seen a boater in distress, and went in to help save him and get him out of the water. And I guess the water was pretty cool at the time. And when they got him out, he had a medical emergency and ended up having a heart attack and passing. So, and that was back in 1985.
Wow. Yeah, I knew the family, but not him. And of course, this year, this is probably even more meaningful to our residents of Sumner County because Hendersonville lost an officer in the line of duty last year. Officer Spencer Bristol was killed sadly, and so I think this is something we relate to more. Now each year, Aaron, they do a nice service at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for all of Sumner County law enforcement. You guys actually did that on Wednesday of this week. So talk about what you did with that this year.
Well, this is more than 10 years now. The Sheriff's Office has been hosting this law enforcement memorial service to honor all the officers who were killed in Sumner County. Sadly, we're up to 10 since Spencer was killed. We have 3 on the wall. Brian Denning was killed. He was assigned to the task force at the time, and he was killed back in 2008, trying to return home from a call for service. Before that, David Mandrell in 1988 was working on a cattle wrestling operation, was shot down. And then way back in 1930, Ulysses Brent was actually working on a case in Robertson County, but from Sumner County, and was killed over there. So there are 10 total on the wall. It's been more than 11 years since we had to add anybody, and we didn't want to get there. We knew the service this year had to go on. COVID has restricted everything around our building and everything around the world, but we knew the service had to go on. We took our first dip into Facebook Live. Every year we have about 200 people show up, maybe a little more. We had 3.5 thousand views, so 3,500 people watched. So I can pretty much guarantee you that going forward, we're going to have some sort of broadcast about it too. So many families. Well, Steve Downing's daughter, she's always at the memorial service. The sheriff said this morning that she was tuned in yesterday. The service is important. Ulysses Brent, who was our first in 1930, his family still comes. Grandkids and great-grandkids come every year, and they came and picked up his flowers and took them out to the cemetery where he's at in Nashville.
Well, tell me what it means to your officers this week. Does it?
Well, it just hits home the sacrifice, the commitment, the dedication that every one of those guys and gals, every day they put the uniform on, they go out. They don't know that they're going to make it home. They don't know they're going to get home to their loved ones. You saw the kids and the families out here. They all, for the most part, everybody has a family, and you want to get home and finish your shift, so to speak. I think this week kind of brings all that, even from the president on down, they recognize that this is Police Officer Memorial Week. And again, it's good for our heart. It kind of, we're a family. Law enforcement's a family. It's a calling. I call it a profession, but it's a special week. It really is. It means a lot.
And I think for the public, it really drives home the risk associated with it. A lot. Bless your hearts. You work in very difficult jobs in today's time, because people like to bash the law enforcement officers and they like to, attack them. But I think for those of us who appreciate what you all do so much, that this reinforces the risk that you face each and every day. And it also gives the public an opportunity to think about our law enforcement and to remember to say thanks and to be appreciative. But
and they have done that, Mayor. Last week was Corrections Officers Week. This week, Police Memorial Week. But the community has showed up and thrown thanks at our officers, at our deputies, our corrections officers, businesses, the chamber, the churches, cards, food, as you can see.
Oh, stop.
Aaron actually sent me a text message earlier this week and said, I think they should rename it Get Officers Fat Week.
But they show up, they pray for us, they pray with us, and it means a lot. Because until you need us, you don't think about us that much. Especially the corrections officers, they're locked up for 12 hours a day just like the inmates are. And Sumner County Anti-Drug Coalition sent them all shirts and lunch one day last week. Long Hollow Baptist, First Baptist Church of Gallatin and Hendersonville. I should stop naming because I'm going to leave people out.
That's the reason I'm not, because something every day. We've been getting some goodies.
But everybody has pitched in, local banks and businesses, and it means a lot to us to be remembered.
Well, and for your information, he mentions correction officers. Sumner County Sheriff's Office is also in charge of our Sumner County Jail. So that's who he speaks of when he talks about the corrections officers. And then, of course, we at the police department, we have our officers that you see on the street. Got a call yesterday in our office, and they were like, an officer stopped me. I said, well, were they in a green and white vehicle or were they in a black and white vehicle? They were in a black and white. Chief. But anyway, I sent them over to you guys. Yeah. So any final words on your thoughts on this week, or what can we as a community do to support the police department and the sheriff's office throughout the year?
Well, I mean, what they're doing now, just do it year round. And for the most part, our community, I feel like they do. And again, you've heard me say this, Mayor, we'll bump our toe every once in a while, and we're not perfect, but for the most part, the community is always behind us. And I can't say that enough, like to follow what Aaron said. It's tremendous the outpouring that you get from the community members and the heartfelt thanks and the little things they do. It may be a little card, it may be a mom and her kids bring up some cookies, but stuff like that, it just goes a long way, and we try our best to say thank you. So thank goodness for social media and Facebook.
Well, I love it when families do stuff, because I think that really sets a good example for the child to respect and appreciate and admire your law enforcement.
And they follow that example, and I can tell you that few things are more meaningful than just being at the grocery store, being at a convenience store, and having a family come up and thank you. You may never have seen them before, but it really is touching, because that's what we come out here to do, is to protect families, and for them to recognize us really hits you in the heart.
And we can't do it without them. We can't do it without the community. I've always said that we couldn't do our job without the folks out there helping us. So it's been the year of the birthday parade. I see you guys have done it. We've done it. That's pretty cool. We like that.
Yeah, that's something that you've seen police departments doing, and Sheriff's Office too, I'm sure, where they're honoring people on their birthday or for other special occasions. You've been helping the teachers do their parades for the schools.
I think we did the hospital too. We helped with the hospital.
And I, like so many in our community during this difficult time, our law enforcement has been so nimble to be able to pivot and do unique and wonderful things that maybe aren't typical law enforcement, but do so much to build community, and I think that's so valuable. And you guys do that all the time. So appreciate you both so much and your departments, and please express our appreciation to all of your folks.
Well, thanks for having us on. It means a lot that you guys would think of us during this week. So
absolutely, we do.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping our community strong.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Y'all take care. Thank you so much. Now we'll be back with you in just a few minutes because we're going to bring you some updates on what's going on in the city.
Let's talk a little bit about what we all don't want to talk about right now. COVID-19 and what's going on in the Gallatin community. There's been more openings this week and some more updates.
Yeah. The reality is we're living with this virus for some time. I keep hoping that our cases will get to zero and stay there for many, many weeks and we never see it again. We know even when we get to that point there may be a resurgence perhaps in the fall. But right now we're still seeing low numbers of cases being reported each and every day. We have not seen any kind of spikes. We've not seen any increases in deaths. And by and large, the national information shows that Tennessee is doing very well, and certainly within Tennessee, I think Sumner County is doing very well, especially when you consider the number of cases that we had early on, and our spread has gone down significantly. Of course, it's been about 2 weeks now. We've had several things open, and more things continue to open. And as I've said before, and I'll continue to say, I have so much respect and admiration for businesses who are taking extraordinary measures to protect both their employees and their patrons. It has certainly been an out-of-the-box kind of experience for everybody, but imagine being in business and trying to figure out all the things that you need to do to safely serve your customers and take care of your folks as well. And so many thanks to you all for doing that. It's definitely a difficult time on so many levels, but that makes it difficult. But I hope you have hope you've had the experience of opening, of having support from your community members, because I know that there are probably many more people that want to support you more than they're able to at this time, but they just don't feel safe going out into the community yet. And that is fine, because I think as we do go through this, that those people who consider themselves vulnerable do need to stay home and do need to continue to protect themselves. And so we're going to keep going with this whole social distancing thing and doing what we need to do to try and, hi there, we're actually right behind you in case you've heard chattering and stuff. Right behind you, there's a walking path that goes all through Triple Creek, and there are a lot of people taking advantage of this beautiful day, out exercising and riding bikes with their families, and so that's really, really awesome. But one of the questions that I keep getting, Kim, is about sports teams. Sports teams and swimming pools, they seem to be the
hot topics.
The hot topics of the moment. And as much as we want our teams to be able to get back out there and practice with their teammates and have some games, we just don't have that guidance yet. The governor has said that guidance is coming, but we have not seen it yet. And by the time this airs, we may have it. I don't know. But we will continue to look for that information from the governor's office and then to follow the state's recommendations here in our city. And that's what we intend to do. And I know there are so many antsy to get back at it, but you know, take advantage of things like our walking trails in the meanwhile, and you know, practice your drills at home and be ready for when that season does start, because it's
going to be a good one.
I did see, this kind of surprised me, but I did see that all swimming pools at all the state facilities will be closed throughout the summer. And so that's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
I hope that doesn't happen for Gallatin. I'm not saying it will or it won't. I just really hope it doesn't. I hope we are able to open safely and that people can and feel comfortable using our facility this year, because it would be such a shame for so many kids to miss pool season. So we're waiting on that information.
Wow. I did want to add, we've continued to receive a lot of calls at the Chamber office regarding businesses and guidelines, and from businesses and community members. And I would encourage everyone to visit the Tennessee Pledge. It's TennesseePledge.com or TNPledge.com. And you can actually read what those guidelines are and realize that if these businesses are operating with certain guidelines to keep their employees and you as a customer safe, they're not doing it to slight anyone or to discriminate. They're doing it because they're trying their best to follow those guidelines that the governor and his task force have laid out.
Yeah, so continue to be patient and extend grace to everybody, trying to do the best that they can. Now, I will say, Kim, I have had some calls and some emails that are people reporting what they do not think are safe practices. And realize these are guidelines from the state. There's not any enforcement of them that can happen. And so what I've said to these folks, and I'll say to all of you, is if you don't see a business operating like you think they should, then don't patronize them right now. And if you're a really good customer and you feel comfortable, you might talk to the management and say, hey, look, we love you and we want to do business here, but until you take some precautions, we can't do that. And maybe that will encourage them to take some precautions, because as you know by now, different people have different experiences with this, and some think it's ridiculous, and some think that we're all going to die from coronavirus, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. But let's, like I said, extend grace and let everyone navigate this as they need to for their personal comfort, because it's different people have different levels of fear, and we need to continue to appreciate that and understand that.
And I think that's a good rule of practice all the time. If you have an issue with the business, let them know before you go to social media, before you go vent about it online. Have that conversation with them. I think it's far more effective.
It's more effective, and you know how it is. If someone publicly shames you, you're going to be defensive. But if someone talks to you in a constructive, encouraging, appreciative way, then you're going to be really open to what it is they have to say. And so that's what I like. It always hurts me when I see somebody on a business saying they didn't get a sandwich like the way they thought they should, or that service was slow, or that and things happen. I mean, Kim and I both have tended bar and waited tables, and we know that, and I'm speaking specifically about the restaurant industry because I've never worked in retail.
Oh, I have. Restaurant's easier. You can fix
Really?
You can fix a messed up cheeseburger. You can't fix pants that are too small for someone.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I just kind of knew I did not have the right personality for that. But it's not easy to serve customers, and we've said it a couple of times, but those people have become a lot of our frontline workers, those servers who became takeout masters, and those cashiers at the grocery stores, and the people that really have had to interact with the public every single day since this situation began in our community. So I admire you all, and I'm really glad I don't do that anymore. But I've been where you are, and well, not exactly where you are, because I never had coronavirus to live through, but appreciate the work that you do.
And I think this is this kind of reopening phase has presented a new set of challenges, because we see a lot of folks testing out almost hybrid models, because now they have this large capacity of to-go and carry-out orders or online sales, and now they're opening their retail store, their dining room. I even had a couple hybrid meetings this week where we had half of a committee or a board in the room and then half of it online, and that was even more challenging than one or the other.
Yeah, we're actually, that reminds me to mention where we are kind of as Gallatin City Government, because last week the governor's orders extended the opportunity to continue to have virtual meetings through June 30th. So this past Tuesday, our council kind of took that up, and we decided to continue virtual meetings until, if something were to drastically change between now and then, we may well meet in person. But if nothing changes drastically between now and then, we're going to take advantage of that extended timeline to be able to meet virtually, because it's very hard to do the hybrid thing. And if you have the council in a room, but you have public who wants to participate on the phone or on video, the communication between the two is a very difficult situation to master. We tried that early on before we were able to move to all virtual meetings. It was very, very hard, because you're trying to manage sound and you've got feedback, and it's difficult. So we're going to keep doing virtual meetings at the city. I told the city council that If there is anything that we feel is going to be very controversial or that a lot of public feels like they want to participate in, that we may look at deferring that. But right now we're going to continue with our meetings online. You can watch them. We did have a Facebook snafu this week, but things happen. I mean, things happen, but our meetings are available on our website, which is gallatintn.gov. They're also available through a Zoom link, which we advertise on our posting about the meeting each week, and so you can actually log in and be a part of the meeting I think it's a participant is what it's called. But anyway, you can get into the meeting and be a part of the meeting, or you can watch it on cable channel 19. And if for some reason we miss a Facebook Live like we did this past week, we will post that meeting to Facebook when we are able to after the fact. So we're continuing to do that. And then at the city, we're actually opening our buildings on Monday to the public. Now we're going to continue to ask people to conduct business as much as they possibly can online, by telephone, or through our drive-through windows, or through email, because we have not let any citizen services wane during this time, and we can continue to do that through those various portals. But if there's something that you feel you absolutely need to come in person to Gallatin City Hall, you may. Our Gallatin Civic Center is going to open, and because of the kind of facility that is, they're going to have lots of protocols in place, again, to keep people who are using that center safe. Maybe all activities will not be allowed there, but the center will be open and people will be able to allowed to use it again. And we're very glad that we're able to do that. And all of our other city buildings will be open as well, but same thing. If you can do the stuff online, by phone or by email, please do. If you need to be in person, come on. We'll have hand sanitizer, we will have masks. I should mention, we have gotten the masks from the state. The Gallatin Department of Electricity is handing them out at their drive-through, and then at City Hall, at our drive-through, which has been primarily for payment of taxes and other fees, you can get masks through that drive-through as well. Bless the recorder's office and Judge Kittrell's office, because they've become the delivery, the messenger, the portal of so many things in our Gallatin City Hall. And Judge Kittrell is actually conducting court via the drive-through window right now. So
I saw that. That's really, how's that going?
Yeah, it's going well. I think she's only doing about 15 people a day so that we don't, fill that parking lot up. But she doesn't want the docket to pile up, and she knows that people are anxious about tickets they may have received. And so she's trying to get through her docket a few people at a time each day, drive through at the window. But if you've gotten a ticket, you'll get to see Judge Kittrell at that drive-through window, which is really sweet. So that's it, I think, on the COVID front.
So I'll add, if you want a snazzier mask, ours are in stock at the chamber. They're $8, and we have 5 different designs. So you can drop by, knock on our door, and we're open again, but we are asking that you knock on the door, and we'll kind of serve you there.
Yeah, and
curb service almost.
We're going to try. I think everybody's going to try and keep that social distancing piece a part of our lives moving forward, which is a good thing. So should I talk about my book?
You should.
All right. Actually, Kim said, have you shown that book before? I said, well, now I'm second guessing myself. Maybe I have. But if it's a repeat, it's well worth it, because this is the Artist Almanac, and it's by Bill Pereira. And Bill Pereira is, I would describe Bill Pereira as like kind of the quintessential Renaissance man. I mean, he was a very successful businessman. He's been very good to our community. He's a local historian, he's a writer, and he's an artist, and just a wonderful man to have in our community. But this book features some great comments from him, but it also shows his artwork, and he is absolutely one of my favorite artists. Not just one of my favorite local artists, but one of my favorite artists. This is a painting that he did. My favorite paintings that I've seen that he's done are kind of the creek paintings, which I always imagine them to be like Bledsoe Creek, and like here's a fly fishing picture, and there's some more water, and I just love his art. Of course, he's got some irises in there, and then some photographs upon which a lot of his paintings have been based. He's done a lot of his family, and you may know some of his family members. And just a great book to read and see the artwork and appreciate it. And on the cover is one of my favorites. And again, I imagine this to be Bledsoe Creek, but it could be a different creek. But I'm confident it's a local one. What he wrote in the beginning of this book, I love. It says, I sometimes wonder how I shall live long enough to paint all I see. So Mr. Pereira's an older man, but he's still creating art, and and writing some beautiful things and doing. I called him one day. I may have told you this story before. I may have said it on here, but I called him one day and asked him what he was doing, and he was interpreting or translating Andrew Jackson's handwriting. Okay, that's not an answer you get every day when you say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting here with some old documents translating Andrew Jackson's handwriting. It's
wow.
Like, okay then. So, but that's fun. But I'm a big fan of Mr. Perier's, his artwork and his writing, and he's just a brilliant man. And Gallatin has been so fortunate to have him engaged in our community.
Which is a good one. Is that one for sale still?
This, I think it should be.
And I'm sure the library has copies, which they are back opened. They have special.
Yeah. This was 2017, so I bet it is still available. So, but
it's a beautiful day. I think we should end with the beautiful nice list.
Absolutely. We are so grateful for some good weather. It makes everybody happier and be more pleasant. But even in the dreary days we've had over the past couple of weeks, and those really cold days too, people have been doing lots of nice things. And I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go first with something that I think is really relevant to what I was just saying. The flower baskets, they're up on the Gallatin Square. And I have so much respect and admiration for the ladies who have done those baskets, because see, last year the city of Gallatin asked Station Camp High School and Gallatin High School if they were interested in doing the flower baskets. It saved us money, it made money for them, and the children got the experience of actually growing those baskets that then became a great community enhancement. Well, the high schools did it last year. They did a great job. The baskets look beautiful all year long. Well, this year comes along, and guess what? Kids get out of school in mid-March, and that left 2 teachers that took care of all of that. So I really appreciate you ladies from Station Camp and Miss Morgan and Miss Choate taking care of the baskets themselves throughout all of this to get them back on the square and looking beautiful for our downtown. They were absolutely gorgeous before they came out, but then we had those freezing temperatures last weekend, and one batch got too hot and one batch got too cold, and so they lost all their blooms, but they'll be back soon. So I'm so appreciative of the principals, Mr. Cook and Mr. Becker, and then of course Miss Morgan and Miss Choate for taking care of those baskets, because they mean so much to our downtown. So that's my heartfelt nice list for this.
I think that's a good one. It made my day earlier this week when I was driving into town and the baskets were going up. I always like that time of year. It's just very renewing and refreshing. I had a couple things, and I actually wrote them down this week so I wouldn't forget. But one of them is related to Chief Bandy and Chief Aaron, what they were Chief Rickard, what they were discussing earlier. And one of our local community partners, Hilton Garden Inn, called me last week and said, hey, we have 200 meals we want to feed our local first responders. We know next week is police week, and we want to feed them, and we want to feed all of them. So earlier this week and today, actually, we have spread and helped them deliver. And so we delivered to all of the first responders in the community. We're able to feed.
Wonderful. Well, I know that they'll appreciate that.
Yeah. And then another one, some folks might have seen this, but Gallatin Church, which they have 2 campuses, they have a Gallatin campus and a Goodlettsville campus. They called a couple weeks ago and said that they wanted to make a contribution to a business that had really been impacted during this time and wasn't able to open, had to lay off or, furlough employees. And so they were able to contribute all of their offerings from one Sunday to a business in the community. I don't know who that is, but I gave them a list of businesses and they went on their way. So they gave $2,500 to a Gallatin business.
Oh, that's really special.
That was really special.
What a unique way for a church to participate in a community, and I'm sure that was very meaningful to the fortunate business that received such a generous offering.
I think so too.
And these are things we know about. I know you all know of so many other kind and generous gestures that happen every single day. Let us know about them. We'd be happy to share those. And if you know of any more books about Gallatin I should share, please let us know that as well. So we thank you all so much. We really appreciate your support of us doing this, and we hope we're bringing you good information. Again, if you have questions, if you have guests, if you have suggestions or anything you'd like for us to share, comment on this on the video. Shoot us an email. Mine is paige.brown@gallatintn.gov, and Kim's is
Kim at gallatintn.org.
Yeah. So reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, and spread the word, because we hope that this is informative to people who have been here a long time and people who are new to the community. I think, you know, we both love this community. We're so fortunate to be surrounded by so many other people who feel the same way, and as I've said before, we're going to get through this virus stuff. We're going to be better, we're going to be stronger on the other side, and we're all looking forward to that day. But in the meanwhile, let's keep doing the best we can, extend grace, and be sure and thank a law enforcement officer this weekend. Y'all take care.
See you next week.